Hello, friends. This is another episode of Empire of Lies, where we discuss manipulation and disinformation in the Russian media. Moscow offers Budapest to the world, how Russian TV portrays the new order. Olga Skabeeva's evening broadcast is always a barometer of Russian officialdom. But this time, we're presented with more than just the usual set of slogans, but a carefully crafted picture of the world. Europe is portrayed as tired and confused, the United States as a country ready for a reasonable deal, and Russia as the only power that knows what it wants. The narrative centers on the upcoming Putin-Trump summit in Budapest, around which a whole new mythology is being built, as if it is there that the real world is destined to emerge, without Ukraine and without Europe. If we set aside the usual propaganda intonations, it becomes clear. Russia is offering Europe not peace, but recognition of a new reality in which force replaces law. Freezing the front is equated with ending the war, and Ukrainian independence is an awkward misunderstanding. 1. Main plot: freezing for the sake of peace. Skabeeva's broadcast echoes a familiar formula. Trump proposes ending the war on the current front line. Moscow immediately picks up on this, claiming that this is common sense. In reality, however, it's about legalizing aggression. If it works out, great. If not, many will have to pay a high price, Trump is quoted as saying. And the host immediately explains. Europe fears that Putin and Trump will come to an agreement and Kyiv will be left behind. Thus, a peace construct is born in which borders are determined by guns, not by law. Guilt is equalized since both sides supposedly must give in. Europe and Ukraine are becoming spectators, not participants. Under the slogan, "Let's stop and go home," we are being asked to integrate into a new order where aggression is rewarded with negotiations and resistance with fatigue. 2. Europe is the enemy of peace. The key ploy of the broadcast is a reversal of concepts. European states are labelled warmongers, and enemies of peace are those demanding the return of international law. The presenter asserts European politicians are doing everything they can to disrupt the summit. Instead of celebrating peace, they continue to pump Ukraine with weapons. Thus, the very logic is inverted in the viewer's mind. Aid to Ukraine equals prolongation of the war. Pressure on the aggressor equals threat to peace. Negotiations without Kyiv equals saving the world. This isn't just a rhetorical ploy, it's a public perception exercise. Moscow is testing the extent to which Europe is willing to question its own rightness. Sources familiar with the situation told CNN that the preliminary meeting between Lavrov and Rubio, expected this week, has been postponed, at least for now. One possible reason is differing expectations regarding the potential resolution of the conflict in Ukraine. Another source emphasized that US officials felt that Russia's position had not progressed sufficiently beyond its maximalist course. According to the source, Rubio is unlikely to recommend a meeting between Putin and Trump next week. However, Rubio and Lavrov may speak again this week. The Russian Foreign Ministry has already stated that this is a hoax. You cannot postpone or reschedule something that has not been agreed upon. The relevant contact has taken place. We are now working on what the Minister and the Secretary of State discussed. However, neither before the phone call nor during yesterday's phone call was the meeting specifically raised. The idea exists, but it is premature to discuss a schedule. 3. Putin isn't demanding territory, he's protecting Russians. This phrase, repeated on air, sounds like a justification for everything that's happening. The war isn't about conquest, but about neutralizing the NATO threat and protecting Russian speakers. This argument is dangerous not only for Ukraine, it embodies a universal principle of intervention. If our own live somewhere, Moscow considers itself entitled to come to protect them. And if this principle is ever accepted as a reasonable compromise, tomorrow it will become a tool of pressure on any Eastern European country. In this sense, the debate is not about Donbass, but about the very idea of European security. 4. The shadow of Budapest. Budapest in this narrative is symbolic. It's not just a meeting place, it's the anti-Brussels, a metaphor for a Europe without the EU. A place where one can talk not about values, but about deals, not about law, but about mutual understanding. The airwaves are filled with excitement. Hungary is ready to open its skies to Putin. Serbia supports the meeting. Bulgaria will facilitate the route. All this is intended to create the illusion that Europe is already divided and the east of the continent is ready for a new realism. But this Budapest isn't about peace. It's about the return of old empires. Russia dreams of speaking to America through second-class Europe, depriving the EU of its right to speak its own mind. You've been on the show Empire of Lies. See you soon.